Before this sode gets started, we'd like to give a shout out to our listeners, our patrons, and our sponsors. This show would not be possible without any of you. If you'd like to know more about supporting the 3-Bit Gamer Show, check us out on patreon.com/3BG. And a massive shout out goes to our boss level patrons, Christopher and Patrick. You guys rock. And now, weekly gaming shenanigans with the 3-Bit Gamer Show. Enjoy. Dude, so Trent, how is the baby? Are you getting any sleep these days?
Dude, I am getting absolutely no sleep at all. But the baby is awesome. She's
great. Cute though, so she's worth it, right?
Do you guys think we should start the episode maybe?
Dude, she's super chill. Like, she doesn't ever cry.
That's the best.
But she just sits there and goes cross-eyed all the time.
I know.
So she's really fun to just make fun of.
Oh my gosh, you gotta send pictures. I love cross-eyed
literally 90% of the day is me and Annie just laughing at her.
You guys, this is like a lot of baby talk, but maybe we should talk like about the episode. You guys ready? You guys want to do like the episode maybe?
That's fine.
Whatever.
Okay. Well, welcome to the 3-Baby Gamer Baby. It's the 3-Bit Gamer Show. I'm JD.
This is Peterson.
And this is Trent.
And it's going to be a baby talk episode.
Oh, it's going to be a baby talk episode.
Oh, we got to do it like that?
Oh, you
we
know
gotta talk like this the
episode.
whole show.
What in the news, JD? Oh.
Okay,
JD,
well, we're
tell us
going to
about
do our
the
news
news.
segment. Okay, here we go.
Okay, I hate this. I can only talk like that if there's a real baby in front of me.
Or an animal.
Live from the 3-Bit Gamer Show. The news.
All right, our news segment is brought to us by Crave Cookies, and the man of the hour is here himself to tell us. Trent, you said you were balling up. What did you say? 4,000 pounds of buttery cookies.
Oh, dude.
What is Crave Cookies cookie of the week this week?
Crave Cookies cookie of the week is, because of the baby, I haven't been making new cookies for a few weeks, so we have 2 old ones back. I know, but we have 2 new ones next week for our birthday. But this week we have the Flintstone back again because we just can't keep it off the menu very long. That's the Fruity Pebbles one.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Reese's Peanut Butter Explosion, which is the Reese's Pieces cookie with the full-size Reese's Peanut Butter cup in the center.
We've said it before, and I'll say it again. There are not enough cookies that utilize Reese's Peanut Butter bits.
Oh, Reese's Pieces?
Reese's Pieces, sorry.
Wait. Nope.
Dude.
Reese's peanut butter
bits.
Bits. Dude, my brain just totally shut down while I was talking. Oh,
Reese's Peanut Butter bits.
I'm so sorry.
Reese's
Okay, so
peanut
Missed
butter.
opportunity there, Reese's.
if you want a Reese's Peanut Butter Bit cookie, you can go to cravecookies.com. You can find them on DoorDash or Uber Eats. Check out Crave Cookies because they bring you our news. All right. Our first news segment, I am so happy. This had to go first because there's no way I could have waited any longer. Bethesda has officially announced their Fallout TV series. It will be on Amazon Prime. So anyone that has Amazon Prime gets to watch it. Dude,
I think sign up for the whole
Westworld.
series. It's not just like one season.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it says they've signed the whole series already.
Dude,
just going
that
for
was
it.
the thing that blew me away. It's the writing team, the creatives behind Westworld. That is Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan. Jonathan Nolan is famous for collabing with his brother Christopher Nolan on a lot of those films. He helped write or mostly wrote Interstellar, Inception, The Dark Knight Returns, all those kind of mind-fucking movies. So, and then, moved on to the ultimate mindfuck, which is Westworld. And then Lisa Joy, who cut her teeth writing for Burn Notice. She ended up starting just like as a spec writer, and then I think ended up being like a main writer on that. And then they got married, and now they've been working together, and they're doing Fallout.
Dude, they're doing it.
You guys, I'm so stoked. Look, we have good money. We have a good team of writer directors that I like. They already work on a property that's like near and dear to my heart. I couldn't be happier. I feel like on this podcast, have we not mentioned this and asked for this in Dear Game Devs like a half dozen times? You specifically, Peterson, had some ideas. I'm sure they're not gonna make it the way you. But I do love
Maybe
your
they're
idea
listeners.
of doing a new vault.
No, they're
A new vault every season.
Well, Christopher Nolan does listen, so maybe he told Jonathan.
Yeah, I don't know if Jonathan Nolan listens. Yeah, I know
but
Chris Nolan. Shout out to C. Knowles.
He's on our Discord. But by the way, I need to call you out real quick. You said The Dark Knight Returns. I don't believe that's an actual movie, and I can't let that slide. I'm so sorry.
I believe it's just called The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight or The Dark Knight
Dark Knight Rising.
Yeah.
What is it? The third one?
Batman
Okay,
Returns,
so I got it mixed up with The Dark Knight Returns.
Batman movie.
No, it wasn't. It was a
think you're talking about
mini
Batman
series by
Forever.
Frank Miller. The guy who did Sin City. That was his mini series, his Batman thing, and it fuck you. You know what, Peterson?
No, I'm just saying. I don't know if that was like
I'm
a real
having a
movie.
rough time
Reese's peanut butter
right
bits.
now. If we're gonna do a tangent every time I misspeak this episode, the episode will be 6 hours long. So you got to get used to it because
you know
I
what?
got a mouthful of marbles.
From
today.
here on out, I'll just let it slide unless it is unforgivable. How about that?
Yeah, I guess this was unforgivable. Get real. Next up, this is super, super funny. The Nintendo president has formally apologized for the Joy-Con trouble. So you're welcome.
5 years later,
You
we
guys
are
were
sorry.
whining and bitching and complaining, and you finally got your way. You finally got what you wanted all along. An apology.
But we're not
Dude,
going to
I
tell
didn't
you
know
how
this
we're
was
going to
the
fix
first-
anything because there's a class action lawsuit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I
You
did not
can't
know
talk
this
about
was
it.
their first official apology. That's insane. How is this the first time they've said sorry?
Dude,
What?
Nintendo doesn't need to apologize. They have too much money to apologize.
I'm sorry. Please stop suing us now.
How many sorries will it take for you to stop fucking suing us? Because
Are you
I
happy?
hate it.
Are you happy?
I hate
They're
it.
called Joy-Cons, and
Quit
you guys
suing
aren't
me.
very joyful about them. I'm sorry. Golly.
Dude, I just don't. If you're gonna make a meaningless gesture, why hold off so long on it? It's not gonna feel more meaningful if you make it 5 years late. Everyone's just gonna be more grouchy about it. That's like, imagine if Exxon Mobil came out like 20 years after the Exxon Valdez, and they were like, "Oops.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
Sorry about that
man.
whole fucking oil spill thing."
We really ruined
bad.
stuff.
Instead, they
Dude.
just never apologized ever.
It's because he's been buried under all the cash they've made from the Switch. He finally was able to surface to apologize for the Joy-Con situation.
It's like that scene in Zombieland where Woody Harrelson's wiping his tears away with like wads of $100 bills. That's exactly what he's doing. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry.
I feel terrible.
I feel just so bad about this. Oh,
Guys, I'm sick. I am
Um,
sick about this Joy-Con situation. He's blowing his nose with freaking $100 bills. I'm so sorry. It's making me sick. I can't even handle it.
can't." Peterson, you do this next one. This is closer to you than it is to me.
I love this so much. So Amazon dove into the video game world, made a smart business decision to dive right in, feet first, eyes closed, and they created a game called
Can't
Crucible. Yeah, just a win-win situation. Aaron and I played this and kind of reviewed it. We reviewed how much we hated it. It wasn't fun at any point.
He has
That's
roasted
the thing.
it.
There were too many mistakes. There were too many weird errors. JD asked me a couple nights ago when we were talking about this. He was like, "What was so bad about it?" And all I did was tell him how the mini map was so bad, and it was like 5 game-breaking things. And I was like, JD, that's just the mini-map. I haven't even gotten to gameplay or anything else. It's bad.
I was blown away. I was blown away by like how bad it was. I love that you guys gave it this college try, but it was just relentlessly terrible.
So
yeah,
these guys, they released it as an open beta. It gets horrible reviews, and they do a complete 180, and they're like, nope, close it down. And now it is in a closed beta officially. Crucible's in a closed beta. Part of that is if you want to get into a game, you need to split yourself off into teams. I don't know. I've never seen that in a video game before.
Has a video game ever gone back into closed beta before?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't know.
I couldn't.
History,
like I was looking at Twitter, and gaming Twitter couldn't find any like precedent for it where they're like, "Oh yeah, this happened before." Like,
close it down. Close it down. This was a mistake.
This is like when you send a really bad tweet, and instead of like deleting it or dealing with that fallout, you just make your account private. But you're like, "What is that service? There's still 17,000 people following you. What are you doing?" You're like just trying to turn off the valve of hate from the hate mob. And that's exactly what they're doing here, is they didn't want people to come in and mock their game any further. So if you were in it, you're like this original gamer that you're okay. We trust you to play our god awful game and not be mean about it.
So does that mean
I love
I'm
that
in the closed
Amazon
beta?
just jumps in repeatedly with
I think you are
huge titles too, because they did this game, then their next game that's coming out is like the next AAA MMO, and that's
what are they
not
doing?
being received well either.
They released an MMO in 2020.
Yeah,
dude.
What is
I don't know, man. Here's the thing that's crazy is the guys that made the game, Relentless Studios, they have like a good pedigree. Like it's not just like Amazon just grabbed a bunch of random engineers out of their various departments and cobbled together a game studio. No, this is like a good studio. They're running on a different like fork of the Crytek Cry engine, which is a decent game engine. And like, if you look at how much effing money they had because they're with Amazon, who they are, and what tools they were working with, this should have been a good game, but it was terrible.
Terrible.
Why?
How did this happen?
Because it's fucking Amazon. It's because it's Amazon, dude. The thing that boggles my mind, and I was telling Peterson this the other night, is that Amazon went all in on this Crucible thing, which is at every single step of the way designed to be an esport. They wanted to make League of Legends 2 without putting in any of the work, which is pretty funny because it's not like Riot Games put a ton of work in the beginning. They got lucky. Like they hit a vein of gold and they stuck with it, and they did a really good job of retaining the fans they had. Crucible was trying to just like force this and make this happen from whole cloth. And in 2020, I don't think esports in America justifies going all in with your one big game property releasing in this quarter. Like, I don't know. It's so weird to me because I feel like Amazon owns Twitch. They have access to all the data and analytics from Twitch. What people watch, what people like, what people stream, how people stream, the game types they stream. They could get so granular with this data and custom build a game that is the perfectly designed streaming game based entirely on existing user data. Amazon has access to user data that's just like unheard of in many other industries. They can do like live A/B tests on their site, which is incredible. Like lots of websites will do A/B testing, so they'll have a button and they'll be like, well, let's try 2 different iterations of it. We'll use one button for 1 month and one button for the other month. Amazon has so many users, has so many people on their site at a time that they can just do that in one day live on the site. And they have that type of access and data to Twitch and their streamers, and yet they made a game for esports.
What do they do?
Why? Why did they make a game for Twitch streaming? They could have been incorporated in their Twitch streaming platform much better than an esports would. An esport would definitely be. But I'm just
because they saw how well Blizzard did with that whole Overwatch play.
God,
they just wanted to try to replicate that.
I was looking at examples. Amazon Prime Studios, their originals, their Prime originals. So, The Boys that Peterson loves, Miss Maisel that we all love. What's the Nazi one? Man in High Castle. I looked at all their originals. They're all baller. Like they're all good. Like really well done,
Jack Ryan?
Well received, critical hits.
Yep.
Yes, they have Jack Ryan. They have been crushing it. So they don't have an excuse because you know what they did with Prime Video? They looked at the users. They looked at what people watch, what people stream, what people enjoy and are buying on and renting on Amazon's video platform. And they custom made content for those people. They had the same exact thing with Twitch and they just turned around and ignored it entirely. And I'm blown away.
Well,
I am
the problem for me with this chasing the trend in video games is it takes so long to make a game. How long were they working on Crucible? Like 4 years? Yeah, I mean, in gaming,
minimum,
the trend will have changed in 3 to 4 years. And so if you're trying to chase a trend in gaming, you're already behind. You're way behind. And by the time you get there, you're too late for the most part. Every now and then a game can jump in and do it. Apex jumped in because they already had kind of the assets and the engine and they were pretty ready for it. But starting from scratch with a new thing that's hot at the moment and trying to chase that, when you get it out 4 or 5 years later, of course no one's going to be interested because we did that already.
And of all people, why is Amazon, a $1 trillion company, chasing trends instead of setting them?
I don't know.
They should be setting trends. They have the cash to be super adventurous in the content they produce, which is exactly what they did with Maisel.
What happened. You know what happened. They had a boss say,
an MBA, isn't it?
Video games are making tons of money out there, making more than TV, making more than movies, making more than music, which we're all in. Let's get into gaming, and we're going to do this. We're going to take a piece of that pie. They don't know how to take a piece of that pie. They don't know what they're doing. They
just
did
shoved
that.
their
Google's
hand
doing
into
it.
the pie.
Give me a piece of that pie. Shove the hand.
Yeah. Like a dripping
doing,
handful
D'Angelo?
of pie. That is what Crucible is. A dripping fistful of pie. What? Don't you want to eat it? You're like, well, technically, yes, it is pie. I don't like the delivery because it's still dripping from your fingers.
And they're shoving it into your mouth as you talk. Scraping their fingers off with your teeth. Just know it's good. You'll like it.
No, trust me. This is just like the other pies you've eaten. It tastes the same. You're like, in a way, yes, but in another way, absolutely not. So, way to go. Amazon and Google have been killing it.
Dude, it's so crazy.
They know what gamers want, and they know exactly how to deliver it 4 to 5 years late.
Or 10 in the case of the MMO.
Or 10.
It's coming next.
Or 10. The fuck are they thinking? Dude, I don't know, Trent. I think 10 might be a little late. Because would you say that there were, like, how many WoW killers did you hear about in 2010 that you were like, come on, there's only one.
Dude.
It's just WoW.
Not enough. I need more I need more Wild Stars.
Wild Star.
Maybe New World will be the next Wild Star.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, dude. It's
it's
like
the Amazon MMO is called New World.
Yes.
All right, hold on. I got to pull up the Blursty tracker because we got a nomination for worst name.
Dude,
I'm
Amazon,
sorry. New World.
Amazon in this segment is getting a nomination for worst launch and worst name. They have to be the worst launch. They unlaunched it. They unlaunched their launch.
I feel like it's not even fair. Do we even need to have that as the Blursty, or do we just give it to them by default because they unlaunched a game? Yeah. Yeah, because even when North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un got worse launch, at least the rocket went out of the tube. It didn't just like stick out then go back in like a scared
Pull it back.
groundhog.
Pull it back. Can we catch that rocket and bring it back? Oh man.
Dude, that's tight. Amazon is the first ever to secure two blursties in the same episode for the
job,
same
Amazon.
incident.
In a news story.
In a news story, I just wow.
Love
Okay, Peterson, do this next one.
This is just a quick one. I thought it was so funny. It's just a rehashing of the old loot boxes and gambling argument, the debate that's going back. But in England, Britain, where is this?
Whatever.
In the UK, we'll just say the UK, they have and this is the best part, the House of Lords has
Amazing.
come out calling it gambling. And I read this and I went, House of Lords? What year is this? What does that even mean?
Are we still doing Lords in 2020?
Hear ye,
Still a thing?
hear ye. The House of Lords declares you officially denounced. That's how I pictured this going down.
You deviant scum.
Taking money from our children? Despicable.
Picking the pockets of urchins?
I gotta say, I looked this up because I was very curious. This is the House of Lords is the upper chamber of the British Parliament, like the U.S. Senate, and the lower chamber, like the U.S. House of Representatives, is literally called the House of Commons. I'm sorry. What? You have the House of Lords and the House of Commons, and you're like, no, there's no class problem here.
Not gonna lie, one
This
seems
is a
better
totally
than the other.
normal first world democracy. We just have the people, the house that represents the people. We refer to them as the Commons, and the House of Lords that is most often populated by like the wealthy landowning, estate-owning British lords of years past. Their families go through these British prep schools, and then they fill up the House of Lords. So it literally is old British lords and then the Commons. What?
We are above the Commons. Oh my gosh, dude, I can't.
There are a lot of words
Commons.
that we need to stop using in 2020, and I'm going to start with the House of Lords.
And no,
I
the
love
House
it,
of
though.
Commons seems like an insult. Like, JD, you
seems
belong
like
in the
this,
House
right?
of Commons. That's a real Commons comment you just made.
Dude,
It's
know,
like saying
when you
the House
that's
of Geniuses and the House of Idiots. You're
House
in the
of
House
Stupid.
of Morons? Oh,
House
okay.
of Stupids.
Like, one is obviously better. I don't have this.
Yes. It's like the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives. You're like, those both sound like cool things, but this is like, one is clearly awful. Like, they're looking down from one of those onto the other, and everyone knows which one it is.
It's very apparent. It is not even hidden.
It makes me wonder, did the House of Commons also come out and decry loot boxes, but no one gave a shit? They're like, yeah. Oh, at the very end of the article, it's like, oh yeah, the House of Commons said some stupid shit too, probably about the loot boxes, but who cares?
And they
The House of Lords, though.
The stupid British accent. Oi!
Oi!
Oi! These loot boxes.
All the
These
people
loot boxes
in the
be
House
gambling,
of
innit?
Commons are chavs. They're all they're all fucking soccer hooligans in the House of Commons. And they're all wearing tracksuits and throwing steins of beer around. And the House of Lords just trots by in their like clicky clacky shoes, and they're like, ugh, the Commons are out again.
Who let the Commons out of their house again? Round them up.
So yeah, the biggest news is that is apparently still the naming standard for the British Parliament, and no one seems to think there's a problem with it. So, congrats.
That's so good.
What? Peterson, these are all the rest of these are you, I think.
Okay, so this is
Let's
pretty
hear 'em.
good. So Roblox, it's a children's game. It's free to play on any platform. And there is it's a game where you have a character and you go around and join these little mini games. I can never understand what the point of it is. Most of the games my kids play seem pointless, but that's an aside. Roblox was recently hacked by Trump supporters. These are
Beautiful.
adult hackers who went into the game Roblox and telling the kids to tell their parents to vote for Trump.
I'm sorry,
They
you said
had
they hacked it?
1,200 accounts.
Or they
I don't
unveiled their
understand.
brilliant campaign strategy.
Oh my gosh. Let's convince the kids.
Yeah,
get the
dude. I
kids.
just think this is a new campaign. It's a viral marketing guerrilla campaign strategy, and I don't think you can knock it for them taking advantage of it. This is like Cambridge Analytica Part 2.
This
It's
is
perfect.
smart.
It's smart.
This is real smart.
Cambridge
I don't
Analytica wasn't
understand.
illegal at the time. It's fine.
So I just picture some guy, his Roblox character's name is MAGA 2020, going up to my son and typing out, "Hey, you need to ask your parent to vote for Trump this year. MAGA 2020, hashtag Trump 2020," and then just runs off.
Wait, but the avatars are also dressed in T-shirts with the American Eagle and red hats.
Oh, they got the red hats for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, what? I don't understand. How does this
clever.
benefit anybody? Dude,
I
don't know.
am trying to wonder. I am trying to picture the target audience for this, which is a parent whose political views
takes political
in
advice from
2020
their children.
because apparently there are undecided voters in 2020, which is insane to me. But
And I'm gonna listen to my 5-year-old.
there's an undecided voter that's like, I am very, very, very almost to a fault open-minded about political things. So much so that when my 5-year-old comes in with political ideas, I'm like, I'm gonna hear you out. What do you got for me, kid?
Wait,
And
what
then
did you
when I'm
hear?
like, where did you get it? He's like, some kid in my video game, because the child definitely thinks the person he's interacting with in the video game is another
Or all
child.
other children.
He's like, oh, mom, another anonymous 5-year-old told me you should vote for Donald Trump. And the mom is like, I will take that into consideration. I appreciate your input. I think this is how the political process should work. We have input coming from all sorts of sources. My daughter, her friend on a video game. I mean, this is the great American experiment, is it not?
Oh, wait, sorry. Breaking news.
I hope it works. I hope it
breaking
works
news.
on some people.
Kanye West has now joined Roblox and is now battling the Trumpers.
Dude, that's the only place Kanye West is spending campaign finances right there. Is
Roblox.
just on Roblox.
Oh my gosh.
The FEC is like, what? You're doing what? And he's like, oh no, trust me, this is a good idea.
They're like,
I think
hey,
this will work.
Hey, can you guys just take that Kanye account and pull it offline? Make it look like he's playing online, but he's not. So he's out there campaigning to bots. That's what it is. And that's what I hope it is.
It honestly might work with Kanye. Because the kids would be like, hey, mom, you should vote for Kanye. And she'd be like, Kanye's running for president? And
Kanye?
then she'd find out. Because,
Then
not
she-
everyone knows that. Now you guys all know that, unfortunately.
I'm so sorry.
But yeah, that might work. I just don't think it works. I don't think there's a target market for it. I don't know.
We'll
it's
find
so
out.
good.
I also am thinking of how funny it would be if Biden supporters were doing the same thing.
Biden's like, hey, Trump's in
Roblox
Roblox.
is
We got to
just the
get in there.
place.
Yeah,
Dude.
they're like, hey, we got to go everywhere. I mean, we're spreading the campaign everywhere it needs to be. We're getting to the 5-year-olds, I guess,
Oh,
because
man.
it's 2020. How about this next
okay,
one?
next story. Fortnite is officially no longer early access. Fortnite, the biggest game
You're
Just
saying
in
they're
the world.
finally
I haven't
releasing
heard of this.
that they're releasing Fortnite finally.
Yeah, did you guys
cool.
know Fortnite's coming out? So if you haven't heard about it, check it out. This is a brand new game that just came out of early access. It's called Fortnite. How is that? This is crazy, right? Because when you log into Fortnite, it says early access right up top, right in the loading screen.
Was it the whole game that was still in early access, or was it just the PvE part of it?
So all of Fortnite was technically early access. Which early access means everyone in the world gets access to it, and they make billions and billions from it. But no, Fortnite Battle Royale or Fortnite the PvE Save the World version has now officially come out of early access, and that's what it's talking about. But that game mode existed before Battle Royale Fortnite.
Oh yeah, that's what we played first.
Yes.
Did it explain the metrics for this, like how they moved it or justified moving it into early access?
No, and
or
like
out of early access.
It's
well,
just
supposedly
like
the article talks about how they've been spending a bunch of resources on developing Save the World still, because it says at the end of the article that they're not going to be working on it as much going forward. So supposedly that part of the game has still been in development somehow.
They haven't been focusing
Very
on
weird.
it. We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Fortnite.
Good
We'll
job.
send
You
you
made
a
it.
little bottle of champagne for finally getting that indie game out the door. We're really proud of you. I hope it does well.
Okay,
Hope it does well. Seems kind of popular. People seem to like it.
So yeah, that let's wrap up our news segment with congratulations to Fortnite.
Okay.
Kudos, I'm yours.
All right. Kudos is our positivity segment. We like to break things up and give a shout out to something we love. Peterson, do you want to go first?
Yeah,
Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. I've been watching a show. I just randomly picked it up on Netflix, and then it's gotten pretty big. Unsolved Mysteries, the show that
This
we
is the
all
old
loved.
one, the OG one.
It's not the OG one. It's new. So it's a new version of the OG. So they didn't just release the old 90s episodes because no one cares about those unsolved mysteries anymore. I don't know.
Probably solved now.
They're solved. They just put a stamp
Or
right at the end.
if you go back and they're still
Solved.
unsolved, you're just like way sad. Boop, solved.
Yeah, that's really depressing. If the story's from like 1992.
Still unsolved.
Oh.
Still can't figure it out. Probably never going to get there. So Unsolved
Everyone who would have
Mysteries-
cared about this being solved is dead now.
That's why we can air this episode again. No, so Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. It's a new batch of mysteries. Each episode covers, like in the old format, covers an old a mystery, an unsolved case with something unique about it, something that was interesting, that took maybe a twist or a turn at some point. I think I'm 4 episodes in, and they've all been very interesting so far. Like, very interesting. Some of them you're like, oh, yeah, no, it was this person, but they don't have the evidence to prosecute the person, right? So stuff like that. It's a real good watch. They're hour-long episodes. Unfortunately, does not have the host that you know and love from the 90s Unsolved Mysteries, who would walk in the studio or house-looking studio and tell you this mystery is still gone unsolved. If any of you have any information, please dial the number on the screen. We don't have that. At the end, it is the same music. I'll play the music, and then it'll just have that message pop up, like, any information would be great. You can send it here. But it's really good. And they're not as scary as the old ones. The old ones, I felt like it was like, oh, there's a serial killer on the loose, and he is currently targeting
In your house.
12-year-old boys in the Las Vegas residential area. if you're watching this show,
If you hear
he's
any
definitely
weird
behind
noise
you.
outside your house right now,
That's how I always felt. Yeah, it's not like that. It's not as, I'd say, creepy as the old one.
Well, that's nice. I have 3. I have Trip Kudos.
Trip
I'll
Kudos.
try to get through them quick. Trip Kudos, first ever. First kudos goes to our boy Trent. Congratulations and kudos on being a new dad. I know we mentioned it like 60 times, but you haven't gotten official formal kudos for it, so
You did it.
kudos.
Dude,
Well,
appreciate
no. The kudos goes to Annie.
This is fair. Kudos
yep.
does go to Annie.
I take
Trent was just
back my
there.
kudos, Trent.
But I clapped
don't
for
get
it. I was
those.
there.
Annie, kudos for giving birth to an adorable little girl.
So cute. So
That's
cute.
just so awesome.
She's pretty cute.
My second kudos goes to it's a Fudos. Dr. Pepper cream soda. You guys, this is my new favorite
so
find.
good.
I feel like we've been kind of lacking on my favorite thing in the food industry, which is new things. We haven't had like new candy or a new soda or a new chip in a while. And I got rid of Sun Chips Puffs. Sorry, I'm still a little pissed. Dr. Pepper cream soda is super delicious. It's just like a super sweet cream soda, but the real reason it gets kudos is not because it's a new soda, but because unlike every new soda that comes out, they actually release the diet version and you can actually find it. It's not like super difficult to find. I like that. So if you like cream soda, this shit is delicious. Dr. Pepper cream soda. And my final kudos is a re-kudos. This is a former kudos from last year, and I just wanted to bring it back because I knew these two guys would appreciate it. But if you guys haven't been doing this yet, it's summer in Utah. It's like 99 degrees today. The best way to cool off is with a nice protein wrap burger.
Yep.
Don't forget, you can get a lettuce wrap burger at In-N-Out or Five Guys. I just had my first one of the season at In-N-Out, and it was just
So good.
It was everything.
If ever there was a way for
Yeah.
a burger to be considered refreshing, this is it. And it really does feel
Yes.
like
Burger was so
lighter.
refreshing.
Yes, it's so weird, and I'm usually the guy that's picking lettuce off my burger. Like that's where I'm at. But when I'm eating a lettuce wrap burger, I'm like grabbing all the stuff that fell off, all the lettuce
Especially
that
when it's
fell
done
off.
well. And In-N-Out does
Yes.
it well.
Mm-hmm.
In-N-Out crushes it. I've been meaning to go try another Five Guys because I know Five Guys does a pretty good one, but In-N-Out's is just so good. Okay, well that brings us to our next segment and my favorite sound clip ever.
Oh my god, the first impression rose.
Okay, Peterson and I are playing a couple new games, and that means we have some first impression roses to give out. I'll go. Do you want to go first, Peterson?
Yeah, you go first so we can break it up. Because you've got a game to review as well. So you go first.
I have 2 games to review. This is all game reviews. Okay, so my first impression rose goes to Surviving Mars. This is a game I picked up in the recent Steam sale. It went super, super, super cheap. I couldn't resist getting it. And it is a city building survival sim. I would say pretty light on the survival side, other than the fact that, it's a foreign planet and you have to keep everyone alive. But I haven't gotten the impression that this first impression rose, so I don't know. I think there are storms and other incidents that you do have to manage that can make this more difficult. Right now, it's just a basic city builder on Mars. There's cute little drones. They're so cute. Little drones that drive around and build everything for you. The tutorial's been really helpful. I've been playing through the tutorial and just kind of getting all the controls and stuff down. It seems like a really deep game. It came out in 2018. What sold me on it was that I saw it was made by the guys that did Tropico 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever play the Tropico games? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, they must know what they're doing. They must be able to build like a decent city builder. And I love by default, just love all Mars stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, let's check it out. I'm digging it. I'm going to keep going back to it and just kind of seeing where it goes, because I'm interested in building like a really cool, the loop is that you are building this settlement on Mars, and then Earth is sending shipments to you, and then at the same time when those rockets arrive, you have to refuel the rockets from Earth and send them back so you can get more. Eventually, humans start showing up, and when you get humans to Mars, for example, they take when you have a rocket coming to Mars from Earth with humans on it, it can't carry like any equipment, so you have to make that kind of tactical decision when to bring people over, when you can actually support and feed them and keep them all alive with oxygen and water and all these other resources. So you kind of have to send drones and build up first and then bring people, and then you build domes and you're doing all these other things, exploring the planet. But yeah, I'm digging it. I'm definitely, for what it's worth. Go ahead.
I was going to say, question for you about the game. So in a lot of these like city builder types of games, there's a couple different mechanics around the people and the population that you have. How much control do you have over the people? Do you assign them like where to go, or do you just tell them kind of what generally to do?
Both. So the drones by default will just do whatever task is closest. And so I can go, but I can grab them and assign them to go build something. Once they've built that thing, they will go back to work as like a smart AI kind of deal.
So that's how you assign people.
Control.
Do you click on them and say, go here and do that? Or do you just like change their priorities?
I can't answer that fully, but I do know that you can click on them and tell them what to go do. I don't know if you can set up like more complex rules for controlling their behavior. Like I said, I know that by default they just do what's nearest, but I'm sure it's possible that you could change it. And if that's a thing in Tropico, I'm sure it's in there. But yeah, like I said, I'm just kind of getting all the basics down, but it's pretty fun. I like a good city builder, but I like when it's got something different going on, and Mars is definitely something different. So it's pretty fun.
Okay. And do the different people in your civilization or your habitation that you're making, do they have like names and stats and relationships and stuff like that, or are they more like just
I haven't gotten that deep yet.
Stuff? Okay.
I don't think they're drones though, because I've read that there are like social issues that come up, like rebellions and things that you have to tamp down and deal with when you have a ton of people start moving in and you're building towns and stuff. Because like you get to the point where you're building like full biodomes. This is just things I've seen in like the trailer and stuff, with like, basketball courts and suburban houses and shit. So I think that there are other things that come up late to end game that are more complex, like social management things. But I don't know. I will let you know as I find them.
Okay. By the way,
How
I
about
can
you?
hear
What
the
did you
baby
play?
crying in the background, and I want to
Can
hold
you?
it. It's just making me like, oh my gosh, I want to hold the baby. Give me the baby right now.
It only lasts for like 10 seconds. Now it's
Oh,
done.
I want to hold her. Okay.
It's dying. Peterson, when was the last time you held a baby? Aren't you keeping like a running total, like scratching little marks in your wall every day?
Yeah, pretty much. I did get to hold a 10-month-old, which is like borderline baby. They're still really young, but they're like real big and they're playful at that point. But I haven't held a baby, like a little teeny one in, I don't know, months. 3 months. I hate it.
Oh, it usually freaks me out. Usually holding a newborn like terrifies me because I think their head's going to fall off.
Yep. Right there with you, brother.
Well, after your fourth, you're like, I know this head's not going anywhere. You're fine.
It's staying on.
If it was going to fall off, the other three would have fallen off.
Okay, so I have a game to review. So I want to do a first impression review for a game I picked up on the Steam sale that's been going on. I think it's still happening. Called Darkest Dungeon. Darkest Dungeon is a roguelike-ish dungeon crawler. It is turn-based combat. So you're going from room to room in these dungeons, and essentially, each room has it'll have treasure, or it'll have bad guys that you have to fight, and you're battling through them. Now, what makes this game different from other dungeon crawlers, it is purposefully and intentionally punishing. So your character, the story of it is essentially that you've inherited a manor from one of your family members who went crazy and died, and you start to figure out why they went crazy, because as you take characters into these dungeons or these woods or whatever it is that you're going to, they don't handle it well. And so they will develop negative personality traits from the stress that they're encountering. So
oh my God.
Each character has... It really is. Each character has a health meter, but they also have a stress meter, which is hard to make go down, especially when you're in a dungeon. And there are certain bad guys that purposefully target your stress. And so if your stress meter fills up, then you gain a permanent negative trait. And sometimes
oh my God.
there's definitely levels of how bad they are. So one of them is like, I have a character who's a masochist now, and every time someone else gets hurt in my party, a little dialogue bubble will pop up, and he'll be like, "Oh man, I wish that was me." Or if he gets hurt, he's like, "Oh, give me more," and you're like, "I don't like this." All my people, they're all crazy.
Someone I can relate to.
All of the characters they like legitimately have just absolutely crazy dialogue that they're saying, especially if they've been around a while. And if your stress meter fills up twice, if it fills up again, then they have a heart attack and die. But when the characters,
go ahead. I was gonna say, the way you were describing this, it sounded like every H.P. Lovecraft game ever, in that you have a madness bar.
Yeah.
Or a madness, even tabletop games, where like if your madness fills up too much from seeing all this crazy shit, then you go crazy or you have these negative effects. But then I was watching the trailer, and there's all sorts of H.P. Lovecraft imagery throughout it. So
Yep. It's definitely Lovecraft.
Sorry, you were saying what else happens with the characters if they
go
crazy
when they
twice?
die. When they die, so if they go crazy twice, they'll have a heart attack. But when they die, they don't die. They're like close to death. And if they get hit one more time, then they're permanently dead. Like they're dead, and you can't have that person anymore. You got to go get a new one. And so you're constantly just healing and trying to manage the stress. And you're like, I got to get out of this dungeon. All my characters are going to die. And that's exactly what happened to me on my last run. All 4 of my characters died. And what's another cool element of this game is there's a lot of strategy for the placement, the crew you've put together. So one way that's a little different is it's 2D, so they're all lined up in a row, and their placement in the line matters for what kind of abilities they can do and who they can attack, and also who can attack them. It's the same for the bad guys. And so you really have to manage where they are in your lineup. And, you can move them around too. So if like one of my characters has a heal ability, they can only do if they're in the back. And if everyone's dying, I'm going to push that guy all the way to the back on his turn. And so placement of the characters matters a lot. Usually it's like, okay, you put your ranged guys in the back, but this, it matters for different abilities, and you can change their abilities. Also back at the base, your manor, there's several different buildings you can visit that you can recruit new characters, upgrade their equipment, buy new equipment, upgrade their abilities. So there's the RPG element as well for every single character. So there's a lot to it, but once you're in it, it absolutely makes sense. It's very punishing. you can't get attached to characters, which is hard for me because I tend to like find a guy that I like and I'm like, okay, that's my go-to. And you can't use them every mission because they'll go crazy and die. And so you're really managing all that. It's very hard, but so far I'm like 4, 5, 6 hours in, and it's really enjoyable. It is a fun game. If you like that punishing, but the turn-based combat is different enough to where I am interested. I'm engaged.
You said it's a roguelike. Does that mean you're starting over? Like, so once all your characters die or go crazy, then you start the whole thing all the way over? How long is a run, would you say?
Well, you'd go through a dungeon, and a dungeon, if you finish the dungeon out, is maybe anywhere from, 20 to 40 minutes. But you can leave at any time. And the way it's roguelike is that your characters pick up traits, pick up equipment as you go. So if all of your party dies, you just go back to the manor and you recruit new people, and you just keep going.
So when you're in a dungeon, this is my question because I've been on the fence with this game for a while. When you're in a dungeon, is it kind of just on rails the whole time? Like you're just building your party and everything, but it's kind of just like a wave-based combat? Or do you actually have some choice in the dungeon itself?
There's a little bit of choice in the dungeon itself, like which path you can take. And but you often don't know where the exit is. And so you're just kind of meandering, trying to find it. You can usually kind of tell because a lot of the dungeons I've been in so far are like, I'm at the beginning and there's a clear like end spot. So I'm just going to go to there. But there are like achievements or benefits you can get for exploring most, like 90% of the dungeon. Or you could just go straight to the end, fight the guys and leave. And you're probably going to be in better shape if you do that. But it is, I'd say, a little bit rails. Like when I say you have choice, it's very little choice in where you're going to go. There might be a section where it's a 2x2, and you can pick which path to go down, or you can do all of them if you want.
Because that's what I couldn't tell is if you could actually control like your character's movement, or if you just moved through the dungeon.
Oh yeah, like you actually move them yourself through the dungeon. Okay. But again, that part of it's just so minimal. It's really about the combat and managing the characters, right?
Okay. It looks fun.
So this for me is if you're interested in, roguelikes, dungeon crawlers, turn-based combat games, you got to play it. I mean, it came out in 2016. I've heard about it a lot. It's a very popular game. I just had never gotten to it. And it was on sale for $5 or $6, so I thought I'd pick it up. This is one that I'll never regret picking up. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun. It's challenging. A lot of thought goes into the runs, and so far it's interesting enough to keep me engaged.
Awesome.
Okay, so I have a full game review. I played this game nearly to completion, and I have been sitting on this for 3 weeks now, Peterson? I just haven't gotten to it yet.
At least.
But this is Monster Sanctuary. I believe I did a first impression rose for this back in the day, and I finally ready to give my review. Monster Sanctuary is a side-scrolling Metroidvania monster training turn-based RPG. If that's enough, I think that will make sense to some people.
Pokemon Metroid.
Pokemon meets Metroid. It is exactly that. So there are little monsters jumping around the game world, and if you run into them, it starts a turn-based battle. If you avoid them, you can avoid the battle. However, those battles are the best way to grind for experience, make your Pokemon stronger, and then you're better in these battles you have. There are, unlike Pokemon, there's like a pretty manageable amount of monsters, so you could very easily and feasibly get them all in one playthrough. I think there's like 60 or 70. And unlike Pokemon, instead of like a one paragraph detail of what they are and their lore, there's like giant paragraphs of lore. So I appreciate that shit. That's my jam. But the way it's set up is that In some RPGs, the characters just kind of have moves, and as they level up, they get access to more moves and abilities. In Monster Sanctuary, all the monsters have their own unique talent trees, which is really, really cool to have like a skill tree where you get points every time you level up, and then you can kind of choose what you want that monster to do. And so you could have two of the exact same monsters that have pretty significantly different builds, because the other aspect of it is that monsters have items and they also have food. You can feed them. And so you have like multiple different ways to like buff their abilities and to build them to be exactly what you need on your team. You can fight with 6 monsters. You can have a team of 6 monsters and you fight with 3 at a time. I really love this game, you guys. This is for me a buy at any price, but it's on sale all the time. I think it's in early access now. And what really there are a few things that jumped out to me. The big one is that I have never been more happy and satisfied swapping out monsters. Like, you play a JRPG, you play an RPG. I mean, you play Skyrim and you're swapping out weapons or companions. And I would hem and haw a lot over that. In Skyrim, I'd get a new sword and I'm like, oh, well, it's slightly different than this one, but maybe that one, maybe I'll put it over here in my favorites. I'll think about it for a while and then maybe I'll use it once in a while. In this game, it was like, I'd catch a new Pokemon and be like, done. I'm using that guy. I just roll them right out.
And are there a lot of them?
There's like 60 or 70. Pokemon? So there's enough like for variety. But what was really cool about that is like at that point, so I decide, well, I just caught this new Pokemon. It's level 30. That means that when I decide to play with it, I then get to sit down and go through its whole skill tree with 30 points and build it exactly how I want it. And that's fun. It was fun every single time. A lot of the monsters had similar moves, if not the exact same move, but the build path to get there was all different. So it was really, really unique approach to, I thought, like kind of giving monsters. And I just thought it was so fascinating. It wasn't like in Pokemon, I start in the first like 4 Pokemon I have, like in my main party, I have at the end of the game. Like, yep, I just stick with them. And in this, I did not. I had you have like your main like spiritual connection Pokemon, whatever. And he's the only one that I've had throughout the whole game. And the rest of them have been swapped so often. And sometimes I bring one back because I liked him and I bring it back. But I just think it's so cool. If you catch a new Pokemon in a very, very low level area, you know, sometimes like in Pokemon, you catch a Pidgey and you're like, ugh, it's level 3. And if I actually wanted to use it, I'd have to grind with it. Now in this, if you caught that Pidgey in a level 3 area, it will give you the Pidgey at your current level. So if you're level 30 Pokemon and you catch a Pidgey in a level 3 area, it'll give it to you at 30. Because, I mean, honestly, that is such a mindless grind in Pokemon. There's no point to that. Like, give me the Pokemon at the level I want it, and then let me select its own moves.
So it gives it to you at level 30 with an empty skill tree, so you can build it how you want. Yes!
That's nice. Empty skill tree, no items, and no food. And so I get to build these guys all from scratch, and you guys know how much different it is. If you've ever, like in Skyrim, the way your skill tree is built 1 point at a time versus having 30 in front of you, you're going to prioritize stuff differently. And so it's really cool. Your monsters can be much less balanced and much more, I don't know, like you can build glass cannon guys that you probably wouldn't normally build if you were going slowly as you were grinding through the game. You wouldn't want a character like that, but you can just pop them into your party at any point. So it's really fun. I think the other thing is, I would say this is, I was going to say there's a Goldilocks amount of grinding, like not too much grinding, but a good amount of grinding where I'd like, right when I was like, ugh, I'm tired of grinding this area. I don't want to fight any more stupid grindy monsters. That's when my Pokemon are generally strong enough that I was able to move on. But I also have to say, I feel like the whole game felt like a Goldilocks zone. Like everything was just kind of tweaked just right, which is very strange for me for an early access game. You'd think after the users have been playing it for years and contributing and commenting and they'd been looking at game data, they would improve it. But dude, it's just like really, really well polished now. I like the Metroid approach, being able to pick your battles. In Pokemon, you can kind of do it now because you can actually see the Pokemon you're going to run into. But before it was like walking into a bush and it would just happen randomly. So I like being able to like pick your battles, who you're going to fight and when. trying to think if there's anything that I've missed. I've had a grind for some rare monsters, some rare items. But again, it wasn't so long that I felt like I was like bored or anything. It's just like,
awesome.
It's just a really, really well balanced game. I think there are tons and tons of room for expansion. I think I ran into 4 different areas. I walked into like a room and it turned my character around. It's like, oh, sorry, this area is not available in early access. 4. And they seem to have, in a Metroidvania, you can see on the map, it's a side view of a map, so you can see how big the area could potentially be. There are all these areas that have like super massive room for expansion. So like I'm playing this game early and I'm absolutely over the moon about it. I feel like it feels like a full release title. It has so much effing content in it. It's very well balanced and there is so much left to come. So I got to what I believe is like the end game. Like there's like a trainer blocking a door that I think the door opens some dungeon where there's like big powerful monsters and all the end game stuff. And I'm not ashamed to admit I haven't been able to beat that guy yet because he's super strong. But I honestly am in no rush because I feel like the longer I wait and the more time I take to not go find everything, the better it'll be when I come back. And they've added a bunch of stuff. So I would say my review for this, we have a review scale that's buy at any price, wait for a sale, or don't buy. I would say buy this at literally any price. I think I sent it to all of you guys. I sent it to like all my friends. It's 33% off right now. It's at $12. But I think it basically retails at $18. Guys, this is a game that you would get $60 of value out of, honestly. And it's early access. It's Team 17 and an indie dev team of 2 people. Nice. I mean, what is not to love about this game? I can't gush about it enough. I just absolutely am over the moon. Monster Sanctuary is just great and everyone should grab it.
I have picked it up, have not played it yet because my list is so long. But it is one that is, when you buy a game and you're like, oh, I'm going to play this, and you're never going to. That's not this game for me. I definitely want to play this. I based off of your reviews alone, it just seems interesting enough for me to want to play it, especially since I've only really played one Pokemon game. And so I feel like this would be I wouldn't feel like it's rehashing because it's not Pokemon, right? You guys kept saying Pokemon.
This is such an interesting mashup of genres too.
The best Pokemon you've ever played.
Sounds so fun.
Well, the cool thing is, like, if you guys know, in Metroidvanias, typically areas are unlocked by abilities that you get throughout the game, and then you might go back to an older area you didn't have access to before. That's handled by the monsters in this. So whatever monster you have out with you is the monster's ability you have. So if you have a fish monster with you, you can grab on the fish, and if you're in the water area, the fish can help you swim to higher areas. There's a bird that you can jump onto, and he will fly you areas. There's a mount, like a crazy mount thing you can ride, and it allows you to go over a bridge that falls down really fast. But if you're on a mount, you're fast enough to outrace it. So I just thought that was, like Trent said, it's a really thoughtful mashup. I thought that was dope. I thought it was cool. Because then it's like, if I grind in a certain rare area, I might be able to get this monster that actually opens up in a different area that I shouldn't be in yet. And in a Metroidvania, that's always the funnest place to be. So, it's just so cool. I'm just so happy for these guys. I just feel like they did something good.
They're doing
okay.
it.
Well, I've got another one coming up, so let's roll right into that.
Dice of Destiny.
All right, Dice of Destiny is our awesome little game that we play at the end of every episode. We roll a 20-sided dice with 20 different game genres assigned to it. We roll a 6-sided dice to see how much we can spend on that game. Then we roll another dice to see who has to find a game for that price, pick it, play it, review it. And I rolled an RTS a couple weeks back for $20 or less. RTS games, I feel like, are pretty development intensive, and so it's hard to find cheap ones that aren't very old, unless I'm mistaken. The only cheap RTSs are the ones that came out like 15 years ago. And I found Star Wars Empire at War
from 15 years ago.
Was from 2006. So it's from 15 years ago. So it was affordable, which is really great. This game is a just classic RTS, but it's got a very heavy Star Wars skin on it. The gameplay loop is that you are essentially, and you can play as Imperials or as Rebels, which is kind of cool. But you fight to control planets throughout the galaxy. They're all planets whose names will be familiar with you, like Alderaan and stuff, which is kind of cool. You fight to control these planets, and what happens is you have two different types of units. You have orbital units, and then you have land units. And so you show up at a new planet you want to claim with your armada, ideally, and then you have a big orbital naval battle in space. If you win that battle, then you invade, and then you'll have to have another land battle, and then you can start building bases. You can start building things that will help you build more guys, orbital defenses, all these sorts of things. And then if you have control of the planet, you can obviously use it as a base. You can use it as a place where you can train more troops or build more ships, and it gives you money. So the more planets you control, the heavier flow of income you have. I think I did it a pretty good justice in just the terms of the game overall. I liked this game. I really did. I liked it. I was not blown away by it, though. I have to admit that I have very rose-colored glasses when it comes to RTSs, especially RTSs of this age and vintage, because they all taste slightly like Age of Empires, and that's my favorite flavor. But that said, it was still fun, and like I mentioned last week, it's Star Wars, man. It's friggin' Star Wars. There's stormtroopers. I'm killing stormtroopers and shooting down star destroyers. And the orbital battles are very similar to any land battle you would see in an RTS. It's top down. The things move on a 2D table-like plane. The ships do. So it's nothing fancy or 3D. But yeah, you can surround the ships. Your ships have, certain abilities. So I was using my Y-wing bombers because they were special at targeting destroyers, and so I'd send them on bombing runs while they were being supported by my other units, which was really, really cool and fun. So yeah, I really, really liked that aspect of it. I thought that was fun. I liked that it was Star Wars. One funny thing is when I booted the game originally, it looked straight out of 2006, like these terrible god-awful graphics. Like I was playing it like I booted it into DOS or something. And I was like, is this really it? I was like, that sucks. They didn't redo it at all or anything. And then I played like 5 minutes of the tutorial. I was like, this can't be right. And then I went to the settings to try to change the settings in the tutorial, and it crashed it. So I was like, what is happening? This is a very 2006 experience. So I booted it up again, and from the main menu I changed the graphics settings, and it looks gorgeous. It looks great. I have a 4K screen, and like I have a really nice graphics card. It looks good. So this does scale up, which was a real pleasant surprise after what I thought it was. Like when you play on those old CRT screens, it looked really bad. But no, it looks awesome. It holds up in current day 2020. It looks just like, the Age of Empires remaster. One of my nits is probably not a good nit, and any RTS fan is going to shake their head when I say this, but it seemed like there was a lot to manage, and I just could not get my feet under me. I felt like I was kind of just treading water the whole time. Like I would get a planet or two, and I'd invade them and feel real stoked. And then all of a sudden, someone would invade one of my planets, and just the Empire would invade my planets and just destroy me. And so I'd show up, I'd build a big navy, a big armada. Yes, I did.
You sit
I
back
wanted
and
it
enjoy.
to be. I guess I didn't. Maybe I should go back and turn the difficulty setting down to JD because, it's just like
JD.
there was a lot going on. Yeah, the thing is Age of Empires, I can kind of like adjust to the stress just because of the sheer amount of knowledge I have about the game, and the amount of hours I put into it. But with this game, like I just don't know anything, so it's like this constant overwhelming thing, and I was like learning new things and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if I go
It's
back
just
to it, because
RTSs in general for me.
Yes,
My brain just can't do it.
And that's the thing is I think that there's probably other RTSs that are way more complex and involved than this, and I'm just being a baby. That's honestly probably what this is. But the few times that I had a really good battle or like a really cool aerial dogfight, like it felt so Star Wars-y. It felt so baller. I had one planet that they came and tried to take back, and I was just basically fighting around my orbital defense system and like kind of using it as a shield. And every once in a while, a new ship would show up into the system that I could use. And it was just like this razor's edge battle for like 15 minutes. I was just going to get wiped out this whole time. But I managed to be like really by micromanaging like every single troop movement and where they were going and making sure that I didn't lose any of my precious Y-Wing fighters. In the middle of that battle, I was like, fuck, this is Star Wars, boys. Like, this is so Star Wars-y. So that aspect of the game, I think they really captured well. The voice acting is not bad. These are the classic original trilogy characters. So we've got like Han Solo and Leia Organa, and I think Vader's in there. Alderaan's in the game. So I think it's pre-New Hope, right? Doesn't Alderaan get destroyed in New Hope?
It does.
Yes.
So I don't know. It must fit earlier into the timeline, which is weird that Han Solo is involved. Don't get me started on Star Wars timelines, guys.
Don't try to make sense
I'm
of it.
Figuring it out. I'm like retroactively beginning to hate the game because I realize that the timeline doesn't add up, and I'm like, how fucking dare you? No, it's dope. I would absolutely say, based on our rating guide, this is a wait for a sale. However, it's old. It's from 2006. Listen, if you guys don't own this already, don't rush out and get it. There's a reason you haven't gotten it yet. So put it on your wish list if you're looking for an old RTS. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted on like a cold fall day when it's a little drizzly or windy outside. I want to sit down with like a bowl of SpaghettiOs and play this game. I want to.
This is one of those games. This is one of those games where when Steam does like the
afternoon.
Christmas sale, it's like free basically.
Yes.
Yep.
This game's going to cost nothing.
Yes. So Def, throw it on your wish list. Def, get a couple hours out of it. It's pretty fun. We'll see. We'll see if I go back to it and play it some more. But Star Wars Empire at War is a wait for a sale.
Right.
And that brings us to a reroll.
Got a reroll.
Okay, so I have got the dice pulled up. I've got the list of games pulled up. The genres pulled up, and we're ready to go. Trent, are you down to play with us this week?
I'm down to play.
Okay, let's do it. You will have to just put this on the pile of things to do, along with raising a newborn. So I'm sure it's not a big deal.
Nah.
All right, we
Not
just
that big
rolled
of
an
a pile.
8. It's not a big pile. It's just a tiny, cute little pile. Anime. We just got an anime game.
What?
Friends.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. So
I didn't even
anime
know that
is
was in
off
there.
and platformer is on deck. Yeah, we've never rolled it before, and I'm telling you, I kind of hope I get it.
There's some
Okay,
good
so here's
ones.
the price. $20 or fewer. Honestly, no one here is going to spend more than $20 on an anime game anyway, so that's probably fine. And then let's do. I will be 1, 2. Trent will be 3, 4, and Peterson will be 5, 6.
Sure.
It's a 6.
And what now? 3, 4?
Yeah,
It's me. I
dodged
got
the
it.
bullet.
Anime.
Peterson has to
Okay.
play an anime game.
You
All
know
right.
what? Every time I get one of these, I'm like going through my wish list or the games that are in my backlog that I haven't played, and I'm like, okay, do I have an anime on there? And I know for a fact I don't. So this would be a good Dice of Destiny because this is new for me. I've never really been into
That's
anime.
what I was gonna say, dude.
Dude,
I was kind of
20 bucks
hoping
or
I would
less.
get it.
I'm just going to throw a suggestion in there.
Do it.
Persona 4 Golden.
I've never played
Oh,
any
yeah.
Persona games.
It's $20 on Steam.
Oh, man.
You know,
Okay.
Ed, that's like his favorite series is Persona. Jeff loves Persona. Yeah, dude, people love Persona. I will say there's a lot of reading, isn't there, Trent?
Yeah, it's like a high school simulator in a way too. It's a weird game, but it's really fun.
I do know how to
No matter what happens, Peterson will not get invited to prom. We know that.
Every JRPG is a high school simulator, but
What's going on with that? Where are they so fixated on that? Okay, well, does that wrap us all up? Are we all ready? Okay, then to play us out, we have the theme music from Surviving Mars, which sounds exactly like the music you would hear on a game called Surviving Mars. It is thematically extremely appropriate. Guys, you can find us. We've had a few people drop in lately to our Discord. We love having new people in our Discord. It's open to all, and you can find a link to that on our Twitter. So I'm sending you down like a quest to find our Discord. But if you go to our Twitter and search for 3-Bit Gamer Show, it's in our bio, so you can just join our Discord. But we love to have you jump in there and chatting with us.
Absolutely.
Cool. That's all I got. I'm JD, logging off.
This is Peterson going AFK.
this is Trent signing out.
Peterson Productions. Oh yeah.